Welcome back to incredibly useful exercises for the double bass, where we condition specific aspects of our performance in short, stolen moments. Welcome to the fifth of a six-part series on spiccato, the bouncing bow stroke. This series explores the techniques and applications of spiccato as they relate to different tempos and bouncing styles. Here's how we're breaking this series down. General overview and preparation, medium spiccato, heavy spiccato, light spiccato, sautille and flex strokes, and spiccato between 100 and 120, which I call the break. Today, we'll cover sautille at very fast tempos between 130 and 160. It's the most elusive stroke to find and can vary greatly depending on your equipment. It can't be taught so much as it needs to be discovered by each player. So I'll show you the process, but it's really up to you to do the footwork and be ready to catch the bounce when it starts working for you. I want to thank Joey Nager for his generous support of this series. Joey has been my go-to luthier for over 5 years. He sculpted my fingerboards buzz-free on both my 1850 English orchestra bass and my solo bass, making them so easy to play, and his tone work on my basses keeps them sounding full, free, and beautiful. Many professional working bassists throughout Texas rely on Joey for fixing and maintaining their treasured instruments. The Joey Nager prize-winning basses are also wonderful instruments. Please visit Joey's website listed below, and if you happen to be in the Houston area, pay him a visit to play his basses and to see how he can improve the playability and tone of your instrument. Spiccato is the first exercise we're doing that has multiple high ratings. These ratings aren't precise. Consider them the maximum ratings depending on which variation you decide to explore. It's 6 minutes long, but can go longer if you get into a flow state. Velocity and control are a 6, mindfulness, coordination, and endurance are a 3, expression is 2, and power is 0. We play spiccato to develop and exercise the 4 types of spiccato families as they relate to different tempos, medium, heavy, light, and sautille. Today is sautille between 130 and 160 and happens when the player activates the natural spring of the stick to create a springing, popping action. There's a saying I use in lessons. It's easy to play fast and it's easy to play loud, but playing fast and loud is hard. Sautille is about playing fast and clean. More specifically, it's about letting the stick become active and take over the work of the arm. In spiccato below 130, the arm is active and the stick is passive, meaning the arm tells the stick what to do. Above 130, the stick becomes active and the arm becomes passive, meaning that the stick tells the arm what to do. To do this, we release our elbow, quiet the shoulder, and allow the wrist to flex. As long as we're not trying to create power, this is actually easier than playing in the break between 100 and 120. Before we get into this, let's look at the natural springing property of a bow, which we can demonstrate using a couple of fun science experiments. The first science experiment is the Slinky, after the way that a Slinky falls downstairs. It's like a vertical version of trampolines. I put my left hand over the string so I don't make any noise. I hold the bow underhand with just the first finger, sometimes the second finger, and the thumb. I angle the bow a little bit and drop it on the D string and let it spring freely in my hand and just let it bounce down the string to the bridge, observing how the bow wants to bounce. See how the bow bounces fast at the tip and gets slower as I move towards the frog. I like playing with different bouncing and drop speeds. I can do this with any bow, good or bad, and this really gets me in touch with how a bow wants to bounce. The second exercise is not as easy to find, but is terribly fascinating when you do find it. I call this the lawnmower. Some people call it the woodpecker. I have a good bit of rosin when I do this one, and it works best for me on the A string. Cover the A string lightly with your left hand, hold the bow with the thumb far back under the frog, and with a lot of weight in the index finger. Drop the bow just above the balance point, pull it slowly to the right, and let the stick grab and pop the string. There is a whole lot to this, so I'll just show it to you and let you explore it. It's the best exercise I know to learn the springing quality of the stick. Okay, now that we know a bit more about the springiness of the stick, here are 3 steps to make Sautille come alive. Step 1, practice your détaché at 130, 140, 150, and 160. Do this for a couple of weeks until your right arm is conditioned enough to be comfortable at these speeds. Step 2, practice ribbits and dig-it-ups. Remember those? They help us develop a flexible right wrist while working on the elbow stroke. And step 3, put them together. Start at 130, play détaché on an A on the D string, then lower your elbow by about 2 to 3 inches and slowly loosen up your wrist until it starts flexing. Be patient at this stage. Explore with different placements and hair angles. At some point, you'll see the stick start to flex up and down. When that happens, notice how flexible your wrist is. Keep it there and try to keep the stroke going for about 20 seconds. Then do the same at the other tempos. I've never had to play 16th notes faster than 160, so I only practice faster than that for fun and to develop overhead. I did hear the Leningrad Philharmonic play the last movement of Tchaikovsky 4 at 176 under Mravinsky. So if you want to give that a challenge, give it a try. It's important to know that there's no way to practice Sautille slowly, since the bouncing stick doesn't activate until around 125 or 130. Your best strategies are détaché, ribbits, and dig-it-up. When it comes time to learn pieces that call for a Sautille stroke, like Mozart 35 or the Bartered Bride, the best thing you can do when you learn it under 130 is to play détaché and not spiccato. Trying to learn it slowly by bouncing the bow is wasted energy and won't translate to a faster speed. Please stick with détaché.
1, 2, ready, go.
Here's the stroke in slow motion. You can see the stick springing up and down just like it did in the Slinky and the lawnmower. The stick pops down when the wrist throws the down bow. That's the reason we lower our elbow, to change the angle of attack. Then the stick pops up between notes, lifting the hair and creating a space between the notes. It's really like dribbling a basketball a half inch off the ground. Okay, let's find the stroke at each tempo using those 3 steps. I'm going to start at 130, détaché with a high elbow, lower the elbow, let the wrist flex, then move it to 140, détaché, lower the elbow, let the wrist flex, move it up to 150, détaché, lower the elbow, flex the wrist, and then finally 160, The fastest tempo I usually practice at. Use less bow for this. Lower the bow, the elbow. That's that. Once we find the bounce, let's go ahead and road test it on our short F major scale. It's working now, so I'll go on to the whole exercise. Here's how we play it. I'll play it today at 140. I'll work to keep the tone clean and free of any trashy sounds. As I go, I'll explore different angles of the bow and hair flatness. Because I'm not doing it with a metronome, I'll be relying on my own inner rhythm to keep it steady. By the way, in the description below, I explain my technique for counting 7s and 5s at this tempo. There's a simple rhythmic trick that really helps me get through this. And before I play, I plan my recovery strategy because once I start, I don't let any mistake or fatigue stop me, just like in live performance. If I lose the bounce, I'll keep playing détaché until the end of the scale, find the stroke again, and resume the exercise. If I feel like I've gotten too fast or too slow, I'll check in when I get to 4 strokes per note. And lastly, this tempo is a little bit strenuous on my arm, so if I tire out, I'll play a long, low F until my arm recovers, find the stroke again, and continue. Okay, let's play. I'll check with the metronome, find the stroke on an F on the D string, memorize how it feels in my shoulder, elbow, and wrist. Turn the metronome off. And then play. 1, 2, ready, go. And that is Sautille. It's the unicorn of bow strokes. You'll have it one day, and it might disappear the next for no visible reason, and it'll return when you're not looking for it. Just be patient. Here's a list of some common excerpts that fit into the Sautille family. Check out the description below for a list of excerpts ranked according to all families and tempos. By the way, there's a difference between Sautille and flex. In Sautille, the hair leaves the string. In the flex stroke, The hair stays on the string while the stick flexes up and down. This is an advanced distinction, and as you grow in your control of Sautille, you'll be able to control the amount of bounce in the stroke. There are so many outstanding benefits and byproducts of gaining control over Sautille, but instead of spelling those out for you, I'll let you discover these on your own. They're pleasantly surprising and always incredibly useful. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you find Spiccato as useful for your performance as it has been for mine. I present this in the way that I've used and benefited from it. I don't intend to say that it's the only way to practice or approach Spiccato. You can adapt these ideas to your style of curiosity, conditioning, or teaching. Practice this and all exercises in this series in short, stolen moments, or incorporate them into your regular conditioning routine. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and leave any questions, comments, observations, success stories, or suggestions below. Please check out the incredibly useful exercises series of workout books, available in paperback and ebook on the Amazon site in your country. I look forward to you joining me next time. Thank you, and be well, friends.